Open worlds have become one of the most prolific trends in the gaming medium. While not all games need an open world setting to succeed, they can certainly be great multiplayer experiences to play with friends. It's a broad format that allows for plenty of flexibility in terms of premises and genres, whether it's high fantasy or modern urban sandbox. The sheer depth of the open world game catalog provides players with numerous options to choose from when joining friends online, especially since some primarily single-player games feature excellent multiplayer functions, such as From Software's Elden Ring. The MMORPG subgenre is another natural choice, whether it's Square Enix's Final Fantasy XIV or otherwise, while other games like No Man's Sky are excellent for a more exploration-focused experience. There's no shortage of open-world multiplayer games to play online with friends, so every group should find something to suit their tastes. From Software took their ambitions with the Souls-like subgenre to new heights with 2022's Elden Ring. It takes the lessons from past games like the Dark Souls trilogy, Bloodborne, and even Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice to craft a seamless open-world experience. Players can brave the lands between on their own, as their tarnished protagonist is called back to help restore the Golden Order, taking down godlike beings aiming to become the new Elden Lord. While primarily single-player, From Software is no stranger to having robust multiplayer options in their Souls-likes, and Elden Ring incorporates this wonderfully onto its open-world canvas. Players can coordinate to summon their friends to help them in their travels across the lands between to take on powerful bosses in groups. With the many builds players can create in Elden Ring and the expansive Shadow of the Erdtree DLC expansion, From Software's open-world epic can carry dozens of hours worth of fun with friends. Almost 14 years since its original release, and longer since its public alpha in 2019, Minecraft has continually proven to be one of the most enduring titles in the gaming industry. The game has almost become a genre in itself and excels in its graphical and mechanical simplicity. Like other sandbox-style survival games, Mosaic Studios' game lets players chart their own course in its procedurally generated 3D world. Minecraft lets players explore their world on their own or in groups of friends, however they please. The charming voxel graphics give the game a similar ageless quality, and the straightforward formula of resource gathering, building, and exploring feels as tried and true now as it was then. The game's maps give Minecraft players many diverse locations and enemies to fend off to emphasize the game's survival elements, making the game as casual or intense as they choose. Moreover, the dedicated community surrounding Minecraft offers players user-generated content to play with to give the gameplay loop even more longevity. Survival and crafting-focused games are often ideal fits for open-world multiplayer experiences. Developer Relogic's Terraria is one of the best and most lucrative games in both categories, offering plenty of depth through its procedurally generated setting. The game sets players loose from the start in a 2D fantasy sandbox to make up their own adventures from scratch. In a similar Minecraft-style gameplay loop, the beauty of the Terraria experience lies in its endless possibilities to explore, fight monsters, build their homes, and upgrade their gear at their leisure. And of course, players can join up with their friends in the game's multiplayer mode. There's an impressive sense of verticality in its 2D pixelated world, giving it a timeless visual appeal while giving players different biomes to gather resources and fight bosses. Between the cave systems, deserts, and jungles to explore, and the different classes players can experiment with, it's a joy to get lost in Terraria's world. Square Enix's Final Fantasy XIV wasn't the studio's first venture into the MMORPG subgenre, but has certainly proven to be its most successful. That is, of course, after having a redemption arc of its own after the overwhelmingly poor reception of the original 2010 launch of the game. Relaunched with A Realm Reborn, players start as their customized protagonist who has been transported from the setting of the game's first iteration and now finds themselves fighting against the invading Garlean Empire.
Final Fantasy XIV has garnered acclaim since its dramatic reinvention. The game has cemented its place among the top MMORPGs available, and it contains all the epic high fantasy storytelling fans would expect from the single-player Final Fantasy titles, with the countless hours worth of content of the MMORPG subgenre. Final Fantasy XIV's expansions fleshed out the main story, the locales to explore, and plenty of PvP and PvE features for friends eager to immerse themselves in a rich, high fantasy game.
No Man's Sky stands as one of the biggest comeback stories in gaming. The game was originally released during the PS4 and Xbox One console generation to mixed reviews, as Studio Hello Games aimed too high for what it was able to reach at the time. But whereas the original experience was quite barren, the team has spent years providing a steady flow of free, substantive updates to make open-world exploration far more satisfying. These updates also include proper multiplayer features, and combined with the game's exploration, resource gathering, base building mechanics, and more, No Man's Sky has become one of the best sci-fi games to play online. Players can now host a multiplayer server, invite friends directly, and even join the MMO-like Nexus Hub to interact with other players. No Man's Sky offers an engaging gameplay loop that friends can play at their own pace, whether they're soaring through space or investigating the wondrous sci-fi planets and their delightfully strange wildlife.
The idea of playing as a pirate in a vast world alongside a group of fellow scoundrels is a fantastic concept for an open-world multiplayer game, and after a series of updates to pad out the gameplay experience, Rare's Sea of Thieves has become the go-to pirate fantasy in gaming. This game has players take their pirate character on a string of voyages for different trading companies, banding together with pirates and clashing with others along the way. Players can enjoy their seafaring adventures in Sea of Thieves however they want, but the game truly shines when forming a crew of swashbucklers with friends. The sense of discovery, from new islands to underwater settlements, feels incredibly liberating when sharing the experience with others. In a way that goes double when a group of friends online encounters a rival pirate crew to take on. The healthy mix of PvP content like rival ship battles and the dedicated competitive mode, and the PvE content that comes with exploring and quests will give online friends more than enough to do.
Though it's still in early access on PC and Xbox Series X, Valheim has been an impressive showcase of a polished open-world game still in development. The team at Iron Gate Studio went for a creative mix of Norse mythology within the framework of a survival game. Players take on the role of a dead Viking who must go off to prove themselves worthy of Valhalla by defeating Odin's enemies in the realm of Valheim. Valheim's imaginative premise invites players to explore its enticing open world while working with, or facing off against, other players to survive and build new settlements. Players can team up with up to 9 others as they venture across the game's setting, which is complemented by a vibrant art direction and lighting. The air of mystery surrounding Valheim's world and the varied biomes within encourage players to explore together and speculate about the history behind the land around them.
End Night Games' Sons of the Forest is perfect for players wanting an open-world experience that'll scare them and their friends as much as it will entertain them. The game is a sequel to 2018's The Forest, putting the player in the role of journalist Jack Holt as he finds himself stranded on an island populated by cannibals and mutants. Holt was sent to the island to find missing CEO Edward Puffton, his wife Barbara, and his daughter Virginia.
Sons of the Forest builds upon the strong foundation of its predecessor thanks to its menacing enemies and an even more ambitious map to be explored in an open-ended manner. The game supports up to 8 players playing cooperatively, letting them build shelters and arm themselves against the terrors above and underground. Sons of the Forest is a great way to inject a dose of genuine fear into the open-world survival formula, and is made all the more riveting when played as a shared experience.
Despite the controversy surrounding its riffs on the Pokemon franchise, that attention has arguably boosted Palworld's appeal. This audacious, open-world monster tamer revolves around players exploring a landscape populated by the titular pals. The player can tame and fight with these fantastical animals, even with guns, on online servers supporting up to 32 players. Palworld's similarities with Pokemon are impossible to ignore. Even so, the satirical premise and setting, as well as the genuinely engaging base building and combat mechanics, make Palworld a fun sandbox experience when playing with friends. This surprising cocktail of shooter mechanics, exploration, crafting, and monster taming gels well for a satisfying open-world gameplay loop. It's accomplished a surprising amount in early access so far, leaving fans eager to see how developer Pocket Pair refines the game leading up to its full release.